All right. So, with that in mind, let's get down to some of our ground rules and housekeeping for today. Unfortunately, unless we've missed you, and if so, please let us know. But it doesn't appear that we're going to have closed captioning for today, unfortunately. We apologize for that. We do have 1.5 hours of ACV REP credit. We are going to have quite a bit of the time today where the chat is turned off. When it's on, which will be when some of the poll questions are up, please throw your questions in. So save them. We'll try to get to as many of them as we can, but because of the demonstrations with JAWS, there'll be a good bit of time where there will be no chat on. Joining us today, as always, with our JAWS webinars, Elizabeth Whitaker from Vispero, a technical writer. Mike Wood is here with us as well, so he may be able to help out with some things, strategic account manager with education. And Betsy Ann's going to talk to us about some of the challenges that we may be dealing with our particular topic today.
Excellent. Thank you, Paul. So I just turned off our opening poll, and a quick reminder for those in the room. The opening poll is just to get a sense of who's in the room. So feel free to add any information to the chat you'd like us to know about our audience today. So for the question, what is your job title? 47% said teacher of students with visual impairments. About 17 to 19% said O&M specialist. We had a good representation of vision rehabilitation specialists, therapists, and teachers, and many AT technology specialists. So a good smattering of folks from a variety of sectors. Where are you from? The majority said Northeast United States. That seems to be a pretty consistently popular one. We also have some folks from Canada, so maybe you were the ones who answered Mike's wonderful poll question about the longest international border. Welcome to today's webinar. How'd you hear about the webinar? 69% said email from APH. That seems to be a really consistent way that folks are staying tuned for what's coming next in our webinar series. And finally, our two unique questions for today, just to give us a better sense of who's in the room today. How frequently do you use Google Drive with your students? 27% said semi-regularly, 24% said all the time, 19% said sometimes, and then we also have a pretty large component of folks who aren't using Google Drive. 19% said not very often, and 12% said not at all. So hopefully you'll get some tips today on how to start using Google Suite products, which are now called the Google Workspace products, with your students. And finally, how familiar are you with using Google Workspace products with JAWS? Our biggest category today was 32% am not familiar with using Google products with JAWS. So some have are very familiar or somewhat familiar, but a lot of folks, again, not familiar with using Google Drive at all. So thanks for being with us today and filling out that initial poll. Do some of these challenges sound familiar to you, especially for this audience with so many folks who are not regularly using Google Drive with their students? So Google Workspace products, which used to be called the Google Suite, such as Gmail, Drive, and Calendar, are ubiquitous across schools and workplaces. It's a free system, so you see it pop up lots of different places, but without the strategies and tools to use a screen reader with Google Workspace, it can be inaccessible. The process of finding items is different on the web application versus the desktop application, so just because you know one doesn't mean you'll be able to use the other. So we're going to learn some strategies and tools for dealing with that today. Information is stored in grids and lists, especially on Google Drive, which can make finding documents super difficult. So we're going to learn some techniques for searching for items today. And just like any other product, Google has its own shortcut keys, which can be challenging to remember. So we have lots of things that we're going to be looking at today. And I'll turn it back to Paul with learning objectives.
Thank you very much. So what we're going to look at today, we're going to look at identifying the 6 views available in Google Drive, 2 keyboard commands for accessing the navigation panel, 2 ways of opening a folder or opening a file, 1 keyboard command for accessing a list of shortcut keys. We're going to review 4 steps for searching for files. So we've got quite a bit to cover. So let's hand it over to Elizabeth to get us started.
All right. Thank you, Paul and Betsy Ann. Thank you once again for letting me be here today. Always happy to always get excited about these webinars. So, and thanks, Mike, for those great trivia questions. I actually knew maybe one, but I'm not good at trivia. Thankfully, I'm better at Google Drive, though. So let me just start out by, like Paul said, my name is Liz Whitaker, and I am a technical writer for Vispero. I'm on the user education training team. And I know it looks like we are gonna cover a lot of stuff today. I know it looks like there's a whole lot here to cover, but what I'm going to give you today is a foundation for navigating Google Drive using JAWS. So let's start out by talking about what we're going to cover. I know Paul just went over a lot of this. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of Drive and navigating with JAWS, and also accessing the navigation panel and what that is. Show you how to open folders, subfolders, and files, and I'll be demonstrating a lot of this stuff. Saving files, because there are several different things to note about that. Uploading and downloading files, sorting files, and searching for files, and then using keyboard shortcuts, like Paul said. I'm going to talk a little bit about Google's desktop app. It's called Backup and Sync. I'm not going to demonstrate it because that would actually that could be a webinar of its own right there, but I do want to introduce it to you and tell you what it is and what it does. And then finally, we're going to talk about sharing files. We got a great question emailed to us about that, so I definitely want to talk about that. So just start out by giving you a little bit of an overview here, and I can't wait to take your questions as well, so definitely looking forward to that. So Google Drive, just like Betsy Ann said, is a cloud-based storage solution, and it's free, and it requires a Google account. Now, the benefits of using a storage solution like this are many. You can back up files from your computer there. You can collaborate with others. You can access files from anywhere, whether it's on a computer at work, home, school, a portable device, smartphone, just a lot of different ways to access those files. And when you make changes, those changes apply across the board. And if you can share files, and like I said, when people collaborate, they can share those files with you. So there's so many benefits of using a service like this. And like Betsy Ann said, also, they're used in schools, it's used in the workplace. Also, when you're using any of the Google Workspace applications, and when you're using JAWS, when you're using Drive, there are a lot of things that are the same across the board, which if you're a JAWS user or you are teaching someone who uses JAWS, that's extremely important to know how to access. How do I bring up a list of keyboard commands, or what do I do when I go to this application? So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. So a free account, of course, if you have a Gmail account or if you use Docs or any of those other applications, you're going to have access to Drive. And you can get there by typing drive.google.com. You can also get there from other applications, but that's, however you get there, it'll take you to the same place. But I like to use drive.google.com just because it's an easy web address to remember. So accounts include 15 gigabytes of free storage. If you're just using it for documents and things, that will go a long way. And if you're saving video files, audio files, those do take up quite a bit of space. But you can use the storage across Drive. You can use it for Gmail, Google Photos, a lot of different things, Docs, and all of those. You can also purchase additional storage from Google, or you can upgrade to Google One for added benefits. And if you want more information about that, just go to Google and type in Google One, and that page will come up. All right, so let's just delve in here to these demonstrations and talk about the foundation that I want to start with here is accessing the navigation panel. So as a JAWS user, whenever you're accessing something online, any kind of online application, no matter what it is, sometimes it's really easy to get lost. You're tabbing around in there, you're arrowing. So the the navigation panel contains all of the views and the folders in Google Drive, and there's a shortcut key that you can use to get you back there. So if you're tabbing around, if you're lost, if you're not sure if you want a quick way to go back, it's kind of like going home. You just press these two keys, and there you go, you're back. So before we talk about that, I want to tell you the views that are contained in this navigation panel are My Drive, which is all your files in My Drive, Shared with Me, which are the files that people have shared with you, Google Photos, Recent, which is a list of recent files, and the most recent files will be on top, Starred, which you can star a file to find it easily. It's a good way to access files that you use quickly or that you use frequently. It's a good way to find those. And then you have Trash, which of course is where your deleted files go. So to access, and I'm going to share my screen here in just a second, to access the navigation panel, you're going to press the letter G, then the letter N, and that's going to take you right there. And then you can navigate that using your up and down arrow keys. And so I'm going to go ahead now and share my screen. And then I have Drive open. And I'm going to share the sound so that you guys can hear JAWS.
Started screen share. My Drive, Google use virtual PC cursor off.
All right, is my screen being shared here? Can you guys see that and hear JAWS?
Yes, we've got your Google Drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
PC
Good.
cursor.
All right. One thing that is consistent about all the Google products, all the Google apps, and even Drive as well, is as a JAWS user, you want to turn off what's called the virtual PC cursor. The virtual PC cursor, in short, and if you want more information about this, if you're a new JAWS user or your student is new to JAWS, later on here, I'll tell you how you can send me an email and I can get you some more information and show you where to go to learn more about this. But when you're on a web page, since there is no insertion point, since there's no actual cursor to follow, we need a way of reading what's on that page. So we have what's called the virtual PC cursor, which allows us to use the up and down arrow keys, read by line, and all of that. When you're in Google Workspace applications or when you're in Drive as well, you want to turn that off. This makes it behave more like you're navigating folders and files on your computer. So you do that by pressing Insert Z. Now I'm going to reach over here and press the plus key on my numpad.
PC cursor.
And it said PC cursor, which tells me that my PC cursor is what's active, which is just your regular computer cursor. But if I press Insert Z,
use virtual PC cursor on.
Okay, now it's on.
Use virtual PC cursor off.
Now it's off. So that's a toggle. Use the same command, insert, and the letter Z, Zulu, to turn it on and off. So when you go to drive.google.com and you sign in, by default that might turn off, but if it doesn't, then you know to press Insert Z, and you can always check it by pressing the plus key.
PC cursor.
Okay, so now that we've talked a little bit about that, I'm going to press the letter G, and then I'm going to follow that with the letter N fairly quickly, not at the same time, but fairly quickly.
G, N, navigation region, folders and views, tree view.
All right, so it said navigation region, and it said folders and views, and it said tree view, which indicates that we're going to have some subfolders here, and I'm going to show you how to navigate this. So you just use your up and down arrow keys here.
Levels, My Drive, closed.
And it told me it was closed. If I want to open that, I can press the right arrow key.
My Drive, open. One.
And then I can down arrow to go through what's in this folder, or I can left arrow.
My Drive, closed.
To close it. And I'll down arrow here.
Computers, closed.
That's another subfolder, or it has subfolders.
Shared with me.
Which means it has folders in it. Here's shared with me. Now, if I wanted to access this, I could press the letter O or enter.
Recent.
There's recent,
starred, trash,
and trash. So let's go up to recent.
Recent.
And I'm I'm just going to press enter.
Enter. Recent 4 of 7. Main region. Recent list view list.
Now it said main region. So that tells me I'm in the main area of that folder. So, okay. I'm going to stop screen share and oh, one more thing I do want to mention before I do that. By default, you have two different views here. You have grid view and you have list view. So grid view will place everything in a grid so that you can use your up and down and your right and left arrow keys to navigate. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to press the letter V. This is another toggle. Now this is the keyboard command I gave you a second ago for turning off the virtual PC cursor in JAWS, the insert Z. That's a JAWS command. All of these commands are going to be Google Drive commands. So they're Google commands. So they would work whether you're using JAWS or not. But I'm going to press the letter V as in Victor.
V. Recent grid view extended select list box.
So now we have it in grid view. So what happens in grid view is that you use your up and down arrow key.
Interview with recommend features of JAWS.
And you probably don't see all of these files because they're in grid view. So you can hit right arrow.
APA. General presentation Google Slides.
But I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to place them in a column so that they're in list view. I want to be able to just up and down arrow and know that I'm not going to miss a file. Because unfortunately, well, on your computer, let me back up a second. On your computer, when you're in your folders and files on your computer, you can do what's called first letter navigation. So you can press the letter A or G or whatever, and you can go back, it'll take you to files that begin with A. Here when
context menu loading menu.
Well, that was interesting.
Escape, leaving menu, main region, recent. Agent JAWS webinar slide.
But here when you do that, you don't really get that first letter navigation. So I like to switch to list view. I'm not really sure what A just tried to do, but all right, I'm going to press V.
V.
Okay, I think I've done
Escape.
something. What have I done?
Test press title is recent Google Drive, Google Chrome.
All right, so I'm not really sure what happened here. And I mean, I can use some keyboard commands to figure it out, but if I'm in a hurry, I'm just going to press
G, N, navigation region, folders and views preview.
See how nice that is? You can just press G and then N, and it takes you right back to where you were, that main area.
Start, trash, storage, trash, start, recent.
Go back to recent.
Enter.
Okay, now if recent is already open, it doesn't necessarily bring my navigation. That's another thing that can be confusing. So if nothing happens, you know that that's usually what you've just pressed enter on is already open. So here I can tab.
Storage summary, buy storage, main region.
And here you can hear it gives me like I could buy storage, or it gives me my summary of how much storage I've used. But once again here I can hit the letter V.
V. Recent grid view extended select list box. V.
Well, all right. I've
Side
messed
panel.
something up. So I tell you what, while we're
Main region.
while we're answering questions here and doing a poll question, I'm going to go ahead and fix whatever I've done and try to figure that out. I know this is confusing, and as a JAWS user, sometimes things do get really confusing on the web. But once again, there are ways to go back to where you were before.
My drive link.
So let me go ahead because
Meeting controls.
I don't want to spend too much time on this, and I want to get to some other stuff. So I'm going to stop screen share and hand it over to you guys here.
All right. So we will get the chat back open, and we're going to give you our next poll question. You could throw that up there whenever you're ready, Betsy Ann. And the question is, what is the name of the area in Google Drive that contains a list of folders and views? Is it the folder panel, navigation panel, views area, or file view? So the area in Google Drive containing the list of folders and views, the folder panel, navigation panel, views area, and file view. Now, as you're answering that one, we'll take your questions in the chat and try to get some of those answered.
Absolutely, Paul. Thank you. The chat is open. Please drop any questions you've got there, and know that if we don't get to them right away, we will be keeping track of them. And anytime we have at the end of today's webinar, we'll share those with Elizabeth and get as many answered as possible. Excellent. So we've got a question coming in. When you set to list view, does it stay even if you log out and back in? That's a great question if you can set list view as a standard. interesting?
That is a good question, and I am not sure about that. Now, I will tell you, I believe it does, because when I have logged out last week and I logged back in, it did not change to grid view. So, yeah, that's a really great question. And and when something goes wrong, like what just went wrong, I just got out of Drive and got back in it, and now it's working fine. So there's just another little tip for when something goes awry. But yeah, I believe it does. I believe it changed, or I believe it stays the same.
And
It
Elizabeth,
does on the actual iPhone app, so I'm
Uh-huh.
assuming that
Yeah.
behavior would be the same in the computer app. You shouldn't
Yeah.
assume, I know, but I think in this case it's probably safe.
But it will tell you when you are in a folder, it'll say grid view or list view. So that's a way to know. And you can just press G and I'm sorry, V to toggle back and forth. So, okay, sorry about that. Let's go. I think we had another question.
yeah, one came in. How can you confirm that it's in list view as opposed to grid view? Does it announce that over JAWS?
Yes, and I will demonstrate that. I think I pressed a key and made it do something I shouldn't have. Yes, it'll say list view or grid view. Another way to confirm is when you're in the folder, if you press right and left arrow, and if it's in list view, right and left arrow won't read anything because it's all in a column.
Great, thank you for that, Elizabeth.
Sure.
We also had someone who asked about viewing this webinar at a later date. I've dropped that in the chat, the link where this webinar, among many others, will be stored. So you can always go back and re-watch these webinars. I know that we're giving you a lot of content in an hour and a half, so it might be
Yes.
necessary not only for you to review it, but also share it with your colleagues and friends. All right, so poll question 2, I'm going to go ahead and end polling at 3 minutes. About 60% of you have voted. What is the name of the main area in Google Drive that contains a list of folders and views? 77% said navigation panel, and a smattering of others said the folder panel, views area, and file view. Elizabeth, what's the correct answer?
Navigation panel.
Fantastic, excellent. So our viewers are right on track.
Yeah.
All right, that's
Thank you.
perfect. So if there's no more questions, we can let Elizabeth take back over.
Sure.
Great, and I've closed the chat, so just hold on to your questions until our next poll.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to touch on this because we've already talked about how to open a folder or a file. I showed you guys, but I want to go over it again. So you can press enter, or you can also press the letter O when you're on a folder or a file to open it. And the one thing that you should be aware of when you're using JAWS is, like I said, if you've opened a folder and then you press G and G followed by N to go back to the navigation panel, if you navigate back to that folder and press enter again, it won't necessarily move your focus there because it's already open. So you have to tab until it says that folder name, and it'll say grid view or list view to tell you which view that you're in. So for example, if I open recents and I press G and then N to go back to the navigation panel, and I navigate to recent with my arrow keys and I press enter, it's not necessarily going to take me back to recent because it's already open. So I have to tab until I hear it say grid view or list view recent. To open a subfolder, when JAWS says, when you hear it say subfolder, or when it says closed, that's what it'll say. When you hear JAWS say closed, that means that there is a folder within a folder, or you have subfolders within that folder. You press right arrow and JAWS says open, and then you can down arrow through all of the items in that particular folder, and then you press left arrow to close that, and it'll say closed. So let's talk about saving files just a little bit here. Documents that are created in Google Workspace applications will save automatically. So when you're in Docs or Sheets or whatever slides, those documents save automatically. Now, unless you rename them, they will be named Untitled Document. So you can rename a Google document or one of those workspace documents to match whatever its content is. And I would recommend doing that because otherwise Untitled really doesn't tell you what's in that document. Documents, like I said, they're not renamed, they're just called untitled. And then you can also save files as specific folders to organize them. You can move them. You can save files that have been shared with you in Drive. So there are a lot of ways to do that. I'm going to show you how to rename a file and to move a file to a specific folder. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen once again.
Started screen check my Drive, Google
Okay.
Drive, Google
We
Chrome.
should be back in Drive here. Can you guys?
You have stopped Nikki blank screen.
Can you guys see my screen?
From Betsy Huggins to all panelists. Yes, the note said it would be Diana L, but she has not shown.
Okay. So now that I'm back in Drive, I'm going to verify that my virtual PC cursor is off because sometimes JAWS will let you know,
PC cursor.
but not always. All right, so it said PC cursor. I pressed the plus key on the numpad. So I'm going to go ahead and press the letter V here to demonstrate what should have happened a few minutes ago with grid view and list view.
V. Change to list view. Loading. Main region. Quick access name. Reverse sort direction. Owner last.
Now it's reading some stuff that's above the folder here, but it said loading list view. I can press V again.
V. Loading. Change to grid view. May V. Loading. Change to list view.
And I'm going to leave it on list view. So that's what should have happened a few minutes ago. So I'm sorry about that if that was confusing. All right, so to rename a file, let's go back to our navigation pane. G, then N.
G. N. Navigation region. Folders and views. Preview. My Drive closed.
All right, I want to go to recent.
Computers closed. Shared with me.
I
Recent.
think I was already
Enter. Recent.
on
Main
okay,
region.
here we
Loading.
go.
Recent list view list. Extended select list box. Not selected. New ask.docs word uploaded 10:18 a.m.
All right, so I'm going to down arrow here. Let's find a file to rename.
Extended select list box. Interview with Brad. Copy of NAV 12. World of Braille webinar slides.pptx PowerPoint uploaded Mar 11.
Okay, so that's a copy of a file, which we'll get to here in just a minute. But I want to go ahead and rename that file. So I'm going to do a right mouse click. Now, how we do this on the keyboard is we press either Shift F10 or the Applications key.
Applications, context menu, menu loading menu.
So this brings up a context menu with a lot of different options here. So what we're looking for is rename.
Open with submenu. Share 3. Get link 4 of 15. Show file location. Add shortcut to Drive shortcuts. Move to 7 of 15. Add to start 8. Rename 9 of 15.
There's rename. And when it's saying numbers after that, like it said rename 9 of 15, that's telling me that it's the 9th item out of 15 items in this menu. So I'm going to press enter on rename.
Enter. Menu loading menu. Menu loading context menu as pop-up. Leaving menus. Rename dialog. Rename copy of NAV 12. World of Braille webinar slides.p.
All right. So I want
Jennifer.
to completely rename this file. I'm just going to call it World of Braille. So I'm going to take off what's on the front, which is copy
Jennifer Donald.
of.
Homes. O. Space. NAV. Period. 12, comma. Space.
So I'm going to backspace all this out.
Cop 2 1 space period. NAV of copy.
I'm pressing control backspace, by the way. So now I'm going to press insert up arrow. This is a JAWS command, but it reads.
Edit World of Braille webinar slides.pptx.
There we go. And it reads what that what's on that current line here. So I'll press enter.
Enter. Context menu. Menu loading menu. Menu loading context menu as pop-up. Leaving menus. Main region. Recent list view list. Extended select list box. Copy of letter Google Docs modified.
All right. So it moved where it is located because that file no longer starts with the letter C. But I could, down arrow through here and find it if I wanted to. All right. So
Copy of NAV 12. World of Braille webinar slides.pp. Zoom webinar. Copy of NAV.
all right. So let's talk about moving a file. It's the same basic idea here. You're going to do a right click on a file, which is once again either Shift F10 or the Applications key.
Applications. Context menu.
And you're going to down arrow to move.
Open. Share 3. Get link. Show file. Add shortcut. Move to 7 of 15.
Move to. And if I press
From
enter.
Betsy Huggins. Enter. Leaving menus. Main region. Recent list view list. Extended select list box. Copy of NAV.
Now I could
Computers. Google Drive.
down arrow here through the different folders.
Shared with me. Google Drive. Start Google Drive folder.
And
Share. Start
let's go ahead and move that to the start folder.
Enter. Start. Leaving menus. Contents of start group. Menu. Blank quiz. Google.
All right.
Escape.
So now
My Drive link. Copy of NAV. Side panel complement. My recent list view list.
I think I messed
Extended
up.
select.
let's
Copy.
see.
Copy of NAV 12.
Okay, let's try that again. I did something I shouldn't have. So I'm going to press the applications key,
Applications.
and I'll go down to move to.
Share. Get link. Show file. Add short. Move to 7. Enter. Menu loading menu. Menu loading context menu as pop-up. My Drive Google.
And I'll go down to Start.
Compute. Shared. Start Google Drive folder 404.
And press Enter.
Enter. Leaving menus.
And then I'm going to tab.
Drive dialog. Back button. Close. Back. Drive dialog.
What's it telling me? All right, so when it says dialog, I can press Insert B. That's a JAWS command. I can press Insert B.
Dialog. Region. Button. Status bar. Heading level 2. Button. Status bar. Status bar. Group. Menu. Menu. Status bar.
Okay, it's not really telling me
Back button. Close button.
what I need to know
Contents
here.
of
All right,
close
I
button.
think I know what I did wrong.
Escape.
So
Copy of nav 12. Applications.
again.
Contact. Open. Share. Get. Show. Add short. Move to 7 of it. Enter.
All right,
Menu.
so instead of entering, I
Compute. Share.
told you this
Start
wrong, I
Google
believe.
Drive. Go to Start button. Leaving menus. Drive dialog. Close button. Menu. Starts. Menu. Go to Start button. Leave.
All right.
Escape. Copy of nav. Copy of letter.
I know. I'm sorry, guys, and this is confusing.
Extended.
So let me try a different file because I'm not really sure what I
Extended
did
select
wrong
list
here.
box. Copy of letter.
This worked earlier. All right, so I'm going to choose a different folder. I'm going to
Applications.
move it to my drive.
Open. Share. Get. Show. Add short. Move to 7 of enter. Menu loading menu. Menu. Computers group. My Drive Google Drive folder 1 of 4. Enter. Leaving menus. Contents of my Drive group. New folder. Drive dialog. Back button. Close button.
All right, so I could even create a new folder here
Drive
if I
dialog.
wanted to do that. So what we should have is a move here button, and I'm not getting
Back
that.
button. Close. Contents of my
So-
Drive group. New folder button. Drive dialog. New folder button.
Let's just create a new folder.
Space selected. Untitled folder.
And let's call that new folder miscellaneous.
MI.
I might already have one called that.
S.
So
C.
I'll call it miscellaneous 2.
Create folder button. Enter. Recent Google Drive. Main region. Recent list view list. Extended select list box. Copy of letter Google Docs Drive modified by new folder button. Move here button.
Okay, here's the move here button. So I'm going to press the space bar.
Space. Not selected. Copy of letter Google Docs modified by Mar 11. 2021 me size. M dash storage used.
And it should be there. Now, I want to point out here what just happened. When you press enter to move on a folder to move a file there, it should move it there. And it probably did, or it might have, but I need to go to that folder and check. The reason that I wasn't sure about that is sometimes JAWS will indicate that. Sometimes JAWS will say this folder is empty, and then you can tab to move here, or sometimes JAWS will say this has been moved and you can tab to close. So without taking up too much time on this particular topic, what you have is a dialogue up there that JAWS is probably not reading because it's not getting focus on it. Sometimes it gets focus on it and sometimes it doesn't. So should you encounter that and you have questions about that, feel free to send me an email, let us know, and we'll help you work through that, because those are a couple of the inconsistencies that I found, just when working sometimes because the stuff is web-based.
Side panel.
So once
Main
again, not to confuse, I just want to point out you go to the folder that you're going to move, or the file that you're going to move to a different folder. You right click it, you go to move to, then you get a list of folders, and you should be able to press enter on a folder to move a file there. And if you want to create a new folder, you just tab to new folder, type a name for it, press enter, and then tab to move here. So I'm going to stop for a second, see if you guys have any questions, because I know that was super confusing.
Meeting
And I
control.
apologize for
Jennifer.
that. Sometimes things just unfortunately don't work the way that we want them to when we want them to.
Jennifer
So.
Donaldson has lowered alt F.
We'll
All right,
open the chat back up then and
Yeah.
take some more questions.
I promise it worked this morning. It worked perfectly this morning.
All right, Elizabeth, we had 2 just come in really quickly. What is
sure.
the applications button and what is the application key?
Okay. Well, the application key is, was it 3 to the right? I don't have one on my computer. I think it's 3 to the right of the space bar, usually. If you're using a laptop and you don't have an applications key, you might be able, I can do this. I can hold down the function key on the left. It's a second, mine is the second key from the left at the bottom, and press the right control key, and that will perform a right mouse click.
Will Shift F10 do it too, Liz?
Yes. Shift F10 is probably the easier. Sometimes if you actually have that applications key, it's just easier to use. But yeah, Shift F10 will do that as well.
Great. And we had a question come in earlier. Is it possible to pause the JAWS voiceover mid-paragraph?
Yes, you can press the control key to stop it from speaking. And then if you want to resume, like if you're reading, if you're doing a say all, read all, you can press insert down arrow and it will continue where it left off.
Great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, great question.
All right. We continue to get questions coming in. There's a question about the backup and sync with JAWS on a PC. It only seems to sync the contents when you first start the computer. Can I use copy and paste to move content into shared folders on my drive?
You can. Sometimes what I have found is that if you exit backup and sync and then you restart it, it will go ahead and sync again, or it will allow you, it'll make all of that stuff available for sharing and syncing. But yeah, you can copy and paste.
Great, thank you. And another question that came in, how do you delete a file?
I will demonstrate that here in just a couple minutes, actually. But you can press the delete key, which sends it to trash. You can also do a Shift F10, that right mouse click, and go to remove. And then when you go to trash, if you press the delete key on the file, it'll bring up that dialog that you normally see with any file. It says, are you sure you want to do this? Delete forever or cancel. And you just choose delete forever.
Great, thank you for that. And you've made an incredible resource document that I want to make sure we're pointing people to. I'm going to drop the link to where the handout can be found. It's in our Access Academy resource document website on aph.org. So please follow that link to get the handout for today. That has some of these short keys and quick cuts that Elizabeth has been talking about today. So I just got a note. We apologize so much for the inconvenience of not having a captioner first thing, but we did just have a captioner join our meeting, and closed captioning is now available live. So again, we apologize for that oversight earlier today, but we've hopefully corrected the problem. So thank you again.
If there's no other questions, then we can hand it back to Elizabeth.
Sure.
Great.
All right. Let's talk about uploading and downloading files. So you can upload files from your computer to Drive. You can share them with others, or just upload them so you have backup of them. You can also download files from Google Drive to your computer. So, and also you can view Google Documents in your desktop applications. For example, you can have a Google Docs file, and you can actually download it and view it in Word, or the same with Sheets and Excel. So usually there are ways to view those in the Office products. So now I'm going to show you how to upload a folder or a file. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again here.
Started screen.
All right.
Recent
So
Google
now
Drive, Google
I'm
Chrome.
back in Drive.
New stop. PC.
And all right. So to upload a file, once again, let's see, we're going to navigate to the new menu. This is something we haven't done yet. So I'm going to press Shift
From
Tab.
Betsy Huggins to paused button menu. Bookmark this tab button. Install Google Drive. Address and search. Create. Install. Bookmark this. Paused button. Chrome button. Back button menu. Reload button.
All
Reload
right,
this.
I'm going to press G then N to go back to the
G N. PC. View site
All right,
information. Reload button. Back button menu. Press to go. Reload space. Main region. Recent list. View list. Extended. PC cursor.
Okay, I'm going to do
G,
G
N, navigation region, folders and
and then N. Okay, now I'm going to press Shift Tab.
toolbar, view details toggle button, grid view button, new button menu,
And it says New Button Menu. So I'm going to press space on that.
space, menu, folder,
So here we could create a new folder.
file upload,
I'm I'm down arrowing through this list.
folder upload, file upload,
Let me go back to
folder,
the top. Okay, we could create a folder.
file upload,
We could upload a file,
folder upload,
upload a folder.
Google Docs submenu,
We could create a new Google Doc,
Google Sheets submenu, Google Slides submenu,
sheet, slide. So you have a lot of different options here.
Google Forms submenu, more submenu, folder,
But I want to
file upload,
upload a file. So I'm going to press Enter on File Upload.
enter, leaving menus, open dialog, file name,
Now this places me in the list where I have files on my computer. So one thing I like to do, you can press Shift Tab twice to get to your list of files and folders. Or if you know the folder that a particular file is in, you can press Control L.
Control L, progress bar, address edit combo,
And I'm going to type in Documents
DOCUMENTS,
and press Enter.
enter, address, documents toolbar,
And then I'm going to press Tab until I get to this folders list or
search,
files and
search,
folders list.
search, command module toolbar, tree view level 1, this PC, items view multi-select list box, not selected, zoom 0.mp4,
Okay, these are showing up in reverse alphabetical order. So I'm going to choose a file.
zoom, YouTube, and zoom keyboard commands dot docs, 3 of
Right.
350,
I'm going to press Enter on this Zoom keyboard commands file.
enter, recent Google Drive, Google Chrome unavailable, new button menu, use virtual PC cursor off, uploading one item dialog, maximized,
All right, now I don't know if it uploaded, so I'm going to press, this is a JAWS command, insert in B, bravo. So pretty much anything with an insert, any keyboard command with insert, that's a JAWS command. The others are, like I said earlier, Google Drive commands.
one upload complete, minimize, close, zoom key,
So it said one upload complete. I'm going to tab here,
minimize button, close button,
and I'm going to close this with the space bar.
space, main region, recent list view,
And then
elastic, world of Braille web,
I could find this in recent. And then like we move, like I showed you before, we can move it to a different folder.
elastic, extended, copy of letter,
Now,
Google,
it should be at the top of recent. Let's
world
see.
of Braille, zoom keyboard commands dot docs, word uploaded 12:15 p.m. the size,
Okay, and as you can tell, let's hear that again.
zoom keyboard commands dot docs, word uploaded 12:15 p.m. the size, 39 KB storage used, 39 KB, 1 of 3,
So it tells you when it was uploaded. So, I could right click it, Shift F10 or Applications key,
applications, content,
go to Move.
oh, get show, add short, move to 7 of enter,
Move
menu
to.
loading menu loading context menu as pop-up,
I could choose
computers Google, shared with me Google Drive, start Google Drive folder, enter, leaving menus, contents of start group, start,
and now it puts us in the starred group or starred view where
menu,
we could move this file. So
leaving menus, drive dialog, back button,
once again, there's a dialogue here, and we could follow that, and JAWS would read. It's not reading it like it did earlier. Earlier, it just moved my file. So anyway, all right. So that is how you upload a file. Then you can move it to whatever folder. You can create a new folder for it. To download a file,
close button,
let me close
space,
this.
zoom keyboard, world of Braille, zoom keyboard commands dot docs, word uploaded 12:15 p.m. the size,
All right, so let's just talk about the same file. Let's see.
world of Braille webinar slides.ppt,
Let's use this file right here. So to download a file, you're going to right click it,
applications, context menu,
and you're going to down arrow to download.
open with submenu, share, get link, show file load, add shortcut to drive short, move to, add to start, rename, not view detail, manage version, make a copy, record abuse, download, 14 of 15.
And here we go. We're going to enter.
Enter, leaving menus, main region, recent list view list, zoom keyboard commands dot docs, word uploaded 12:15 p.m. the size, 39 KB storage used, 39 KB extended select list box, world of Braille.
Okay, now it read a lot of different things that had nothing to do with downloading, but what happens is JAWS will indicate that it's downloaded, and it places it in your default download folder, whatever that default is. So then you can go to that folder on your computer and find the file. Now, the same goes for uploading folders, you do it the same way. And if you're downloading a folder, Drive, when you download it from Drive, it's going to be in a zip file. So it's going to say if the folder is called Google Drive keyboard commands, it's going to be it's going to have .zip after it. So when you find it on your computer, you just click it or press enter to open it, and that unzips it, and then you have your folder, and then you enter on that and you have your files. So I just wanted to let you guys know that right there.
Task switching, meeting
All
controls.
right,
Recent Google
so
use
I'm
virtual
gonna,
PC meeting controls.
let's see. So that's uploading and downloading a file. Let me get to our next. Oh yeah, I thought we had another poll question. Did I skip that?
Nope, change your plans.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So I just want to talk a little bit about, we talked about, let me get back
Recent
over
Google
here.
Drive.
I want to talk a little bit about deleting files. Like I said, you can
PC.
you can press the delete key.
Close button.
Let me get rid
Space.
of that. I don't see
Main
that.
region. Extended select. World of Braille webinar slides.
So if I wanted to
Zoom keyboard commands. Docs work.
go back up here and delete Zoom keyboard commands, I can press the delete key.
Not selected. World of Braille webinar slide.
And then I can go to trash, where I know it probably put it here. So I can press G, then N to go back to the navigation panel.
G, N, navigation region, folders
And I can go down to trash.
left, shift, recent, start, trash,
Enter.
enter. Main region, sorted by name, ascending, reverse sort by, last modified by, sort by, trash list view, extended select list box, Zoom keyboard commands, docs word me last modified.
Okay, so there's only one file in trash, so up and down arrow keys won't do anything because there's nothing, it can't navigate to another file. So here I could press the delete key and it would say, are you sure you want to delete? Delete forever or cancel, and then I can press Shift Tab.
Sort by, sorted by, items in trash are deleted forever after 30 days region, empty trash button.
And I can do space.
Delete forever, modal dialog. All items in the trash will be deleted forever and you won't be able to restore them. Learn more, delete forever button, space,
and I can
main
space
region,
there
items in trash.
Once again, and it will get rid of all of those items. So, okay, that's just a little bit about deleting files. I wanted to make sure that I covered that. Okay. I want to see if we have any questions. Let's see.
Meeting controls, audio
questions.
All dead.
Yes, we've had a lot of questions come in, Elizabeth, and I can reopen the
Sure.
poll. Or I'm sorry, I can reopen the chat just to make sure everyone can put any more recent questions into the chat.
I want to leave plenty of time to answer your questions. So, and if you guys, if I don't get to a question today, if I'm not able to answer your questions, send them in an email to training@vispero.com. Or if you're working through this stuff, for example, if you're trying to move files, or you're trying to do some certain things that aren't working the way that you think they should be, let me know. Send an email to training@vispero.com and I'll definitely help you out with that.
Excellent. A question just came in. In JAWS, what is the difference between space and enter?
That's a great question. In terms of selecting an item for, pressing enter on a folder, for example, sometimes you can press enter on a folder to open it, but you couldn't press space. Mostly when you're on a button of some sort, like the empty trash button, you can press either. So sometimes it's one of those things where if you press space and it doesn't do anything, just go ahead and press enter.
All right. Thank you, Elizabeth, for answering that question. Another question came in. Is there a quick way to go back? For example, if I try to move or rename and I want to back up through my process.
If you're in a dialogue, like a rename or like that move dialogue, you can tab to close or you can press escape. If you're in a folder and you want to go back to the previous folder, like if you're in a subfolder and you want to go back to another folder, you can press Alt left arrow.
Great, that's awesome. Another question, does the Google Command C, which takes you to the new button, not work on JAWS?
I think it will. Let's see. It does. Thank you for that. Actually, I did not know that one. So yeah, you just taught me a keyboard command. It does. It takes you, and what it does is it takes you to the new button. It actually takes you in that menu. So there's a shortcut right there. Just press C for new.
Awesome. We've had some folks drop into the chat that they would love a kind of compendium of resources for JAWS
Yeah.
and Google products. So that might be something to add to it. You know, this is a group process and we're all learning from each other.
Right. And
So,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, I'm just saying that like we're learning so much from our audience today. So
Sure.
thanks for being with us.
And we use Drive for a lot of things as well at Vispero, but sometimes we'll on our training team we'll use Drive for certain things, but you guys who are teaching it and you guys who are using it all the time, you may have some specific things you have questions about or some specific shortcuts or things that so feel free to share that information.
Absolutely. So that's it for questions right now.
Okay.
If
All
we
right.
want to
Let's
keep
see.
on with your presentation.
We're going to talk about sorting files very quickly and also how to search for files really quickly. And I'm going to go through these and then I'm going to show you how these work. So you can sort files to locate them really easily. You can sort by options such as the file name, the date, last modified. There are a lot of different ways you can do that. So to do that, you can select a folder. You can put your cursor on it, or you can press enter to go into it. You can right click it once again with Shift F10. And then you can press R for sort. And you can choose the criteria that you use. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you how to do this here. And like I said before, I know I'm blowing through a lot of information very quickly here, but you can use that resource document that Betsy Ann referred to earlier is available. And also, like I said, if you have any questions, definitely email me.
Google Drive.
Be happy to answer those for you. All right, so let's press G then N because that's just a really good way to start back at the beginning here.
G, N, navigation region, folders and views, preview.
All right, I want to go down to
storage, trash, start, recent, shared with me, computers closed, my drive closed.
My drive, let's see. Let's
share recent.
Let's sort recent. I'm going to press enter.
Enter. Main region, recent.
I think it'll let me do this. And I'm going to right click it.
Applications, content.
Press R.
R. Open with share, get link, show, add, moved, add, rename, view it, manage, make a copy, report a view, download, remove, preview.
All right.
Escape,
let's pick a different one because recent.
G, N, navigation region. Shared with me.
Showing the most recent
computers,
files. So
let's, my drive, level 1, APH presentations, Google Drive folder.
All right. I want to sort this folder. So I'm going to
applications, R. Escape, leaving.
I'm going to open
APH presentation. APH presentations, Google Drive folder closed.
I can open it, or I can even press enter on it. I can press right arrow to navigate inside it, or I can press enter.
APH presentation, main
and then
region.
I can go to right
applications,
click.
Open with share, get link, show, add short, move to, add to start, rename, view the tape, manage version, make a copy, report a view, download, remove, preview, open with sub menu.
All right, I am not sure why
Escape,
Google Drive is
menus,
not my friend
region,
today. But let's I do hear some things that are important here. I can press Shift Tab.
Last modified button menu.
And there is a button for last modified.
Reverse sort direction button.
That will reverse the sorting direction. So for example, if you have something sorted by alphabetical order and it's Z to A and you want to reverse that, you can go there.
Name button.
So let's go to name. Let's press space on name.
Space, grid, not selected, APH, Gmail and JAWS webinar presentation.
And
last modified, reverse sort direction button.
Let's choose reverse sort direction, see what happens.
Space, grid, not selected, Google Chrome, APH, Google Chrome and AP.
But
Google.
It said grid view, so I'm going to press V.
V, loading, change to grid view, main region, sort by name.
Well, it said.
V, loading, change to list
okay,
view, main.
There we go.
APH, Gmail, Google Chrome, AP.
Okay, so there are only two things in here. All right, that's good. So,
last modified button.
As you can hear,
grid.
On top here we have
Google Chrome and JAWS.pptx.
Google Chrome and JAWS.
APH, Gmail and JAWS webinar.
And AP, that's another presentation I did. So it's doing it in reverse. Let's go back up. Let's Shift Tab.
Last modified button. Reverse sort direction button. Space, grid, not selected, APH, Gmail and JAWS webinar presentation rev2.ppt.
And I chose reverse direction. And so now A, the file that begins with A is on top.
Google Chrome and JAWS.pptx.
And then we have the other file. So that's how you can search for that. You can shift tab back up. You can
Last modified button menu.
you have a menu here. Let's space on that.
Space context menu. Last modified.
And you have last modified.
Last modified by me. 2 of 3.
Last modified by me.
Last opened by me. 3 of 3.
And let's last opened by me. So you could choose any of those if you wanted to sort quickly.
Escape. Leaving menus. APH present. Escape.
All right, so I'm gonna
Meeting
go
controls.
back over
Audio.
here and stop sharing my screen. And
Alt S.
Nikki, I'm gonna give it back to you. We're gonna talk about searching really quickly. So searching for files is a pretty straightforward process, but there are a lot of options that you have there. So to search for a file, you're going to press / the / key to access the search box. And then you're going to type in search terms and press enter. And the focus will move to the search results. Or you can also use the advanced search feature to refine your results. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen again here. Oops, I'm going to share my.
Started screen share. Off. Stop video Alt plus V button. UR view space. Start video Alt Alt. Audio unmute. Currently muted. Alt plus A button. Video now stop. Audio. Start video Alt plus V button. Space. Video now Alt.
Okay.
Video stop video Alt. Audio mute. Currently. Task switching. APH presentations. Google Drive. PC cursor.
All right. So let's press.
/ banner region. Search region. Search and drive edit combo expanded. Meeting controls. Mute. Alt. Unmute my audio. Alt plus audio settings. But unmute. Currently mute. Space. Mute my
Okay,
audio.
sorry about that. Having an audio issue.
APH presentations.
Okay,
Google.
so now let's type a search term. Type
A-P-H. List with 2 items. Search
Okay,
for
so I
APH.
type
Shelly Chandler
APH.
raised hand. Shelly Chandler has lowered hand.
And I can down arrow here through the
Open
results.
folder APH present. Search and drive edit combo collapsed. APH. List with 2 items. Search for APH.
And I could enter on
Search and
let's
drive
see,
edit. List with 2 items. Open folder.
this folder to open it. So, or let's press escape.
Escape. Search and drive edit com.
Press / again here.
/
Oops.
Escape.
Let's see.
Escape. APH presentations.
There we go.
Google Drive.
So press /
/ banner region. Search region.
and I'm going to tab here through this. Let's see what we get.
Search options button menu.
Okay, so we have a search options button. So I press space.
Space. Search options dialog. Search options anywhere item name as the words APH / share.
And you can tab through here to, let's see what we
Owner list box collapsed as pop-up. Location anywhere button menu. Location group and trash checkbox not checked. Start checkbox not checked. Date modified list box collapsed as pop-up.
So you can
Anytime,
kind of
one
break it down here and choose where the item would be, where you want it to search and things like that. So you just make your choices and then you
item has the words edit. Shared with edit combo. Follow up list box. Search Google
lots
Drive
of
button.
stuff here. And then you choose search Google Drive, press space.
Space. Main region. Loading. Last modified. Sort by. Last modified. Search results list. Extended select list box. Not selected. APH presentations. Google Drive.
And then we have a list of results. So we can use up and down, let's see, up and down arrow key.
APH Gmail and JAWS webinar presentation rev2.ppt. APH Zoom webinar Google Drive folder. Me
And if I wanted to choose one of those files, I just hit enter. So yeah, once again, just press /, type your search term and hit enter, or you can choose the more options. Let's see what's it called, more options.
/ banner region. Search options button
Search
menu.
options button, sorry about that.
Clear search button.
You can also tab to clear search.
Search Google Drive button.
And you have the search Google Drive button. So yeah, / just brings up a dialog here that you can tab through.
Support button menu. Settings button menu.
And we have settings.
Google Apps button collapsed.
So there's just a lot of different things. If you keep tabbing through here, you might get lost in some of this stuff. So I like to shift tab back up.
Support search clear search button. Search options button menu.
And like I said, once again, that search options, that's your advanced. You have some advanced things there that you can go through. So press escape.
Escape.
And let's see if we have any questions. And then we're going to talk a little bit about keyboard shortcuts and a couple more things. And I really want to get to some of these other questions.
Meeting controls. Mute. Alt S.
So yeah, let's open those back up for questions. Searching and sorting are kind of one of those things, like you can use those keyboard commands, you can tab around in there and you can kind of figure out where you need to be. But slash is a good keyboard command because across all the Google applications, you can use that slash key for search. So yeah, there's.
All right, so the chat is open, so feel free to throw your questions in.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That chat is open right now.
Do we have any questions that we weren't able to from earlier, or no questions?
Yeah, we can scroll back up and see what we've got.
Okay.
Someone had posted earlier, not to stir the mud, but do you have an opinion for using JAWS versus Navigator when using Google products?
Are you referring to narrator, maybe?
The question said JAWS versus Navigator, but
okay, I'm not sure.
Might be a misprint for.
Yeah,
narrator.
I'm not sure what Navigator is. Maybe narrator.
Someone just posted, yes, that was my.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So.
I haven't really used it with a lot of Google products, but I would say that JAWS. There's a lot of support for JAWS. Of course, there's Google has built in the keyboard commands, but there's also a lot of support for JAWS.
And the other thing about Narrator is because it's a Microsoft product, it's going to work best with Microsoft products. And
True.
So I would say I would be a little nervous about trying Narrator. I mean, if you've got someone there watching, you could always try it, but that would be probably my last choice for screen readers with these things would be Narrator.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you. Okay, so another one came in. When using a laptop, the JAWS key is caps lock. I'm including that in the wonderful handout to help me remember to use caps lock instead of insert when using a laptop.
Yes, and also that's a really, really good point. When you are using a laptop, if you go into the JAWS settings and you set the layout to laptop, then you can use caps lock as your insert key. And if you actually need to use caps lock, you just press it twice quickly to turn it on and do that to turn it off. So you go to JAWS, you go to the options menu and go to basic, and then you can set keyboard to a laptop rather than desktop. And incidentally, even if you're using a desktop computer, or if you have a laptop that has a numpad, you can still use caps lock as your insert key if you set it to laptop layout. So if that's something that you prefer.
Great. Well, that's all the questions we have right now.
Okay.
If we want to go back to the presentation.
Yeah, just got a couple more things here. So using keyboard shortcuts, I'm going to show you how to do this. And of course, that wonderful keyboard shortcut for new, that was the letter C, for that new menu will be in here, I'm sure. Once again, thank you for that. So you can use keyboard shortcuts to perform a wide array of tasks, as we've done today. You can press Control/ to access a list of those available shortcuts. Now, when we do that, we want to toggle the JAWS virtual PC cursor on so we can read them, because otherwise up and down arrow won't do anything. So we've had it off all this time. We're going to press Insert Z to turn it back on. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and let's see how this works here. Okay.
Started screen share.
I'm going to go back
Search
over
results,
here.
Google Drive, Google.
Let's get rid of search results here. Can you guys still see my screen? I was having a couple audio and computer issues.
PC clear search.
We can.
Okay, good.
Search Google Drive.
All
Clear
right, let's
search
clear
space. Search and drive edit.
I want to.
N. Search options button menu. Clear search button. Search Google support button. Settings button. Google Apps button. Google new button menu.
I don't know. I'm in this. I'm kind of
Drive
stuck.
link.
Okay, but that's okay. I can still press Control/.
Control/ keyboard shortcuts dialog.
Okay. Now it says keyboard shortcuts dialog and up and down arrow key. Don't do anything here. So I'm going to press Insert Z.
Use virtual PC cursor on.
And virtual PC cursor is on. Now I can use my arrow keys.
Heading description. Search keyboard shortcuts.
You can search keyboard shortcuts.
Edit combo.
So if you wanted to know what a specific let's see, let's just type in
Enter. Search keyboard.
new. Let's type in new.
N-E-W.
And I can down arrow.
List with 1 items. New. 1.
And I can hit enter.
Enter. Search results. Google Drive. Table with 2 columns and 2 rows. Heading level 3 menus. Create /new. C. Table end. Close button.
And there's that keyboard command. See?
Space. Main region. Search results list.
So now let me go back to the keyboards. I can press keyboard commands. I can press
Control
/
keyboard short. Search results Google.
Now my virtual PC cursor is still on. So the reason this is great is because you can navigate through tables by pressing the letter T. So these commands are broken down into categories, and each table contains a category. But if I press T, while I will navigate by table, it doesn't read the heading of that table, so I don't know what that category is. But I can press the letter H, which, and these are what are called JAWS quick navigation keys. They allow you to navigate through a web page quickly. So I can press H.
Keyboard shortcuts heading level 2.
I can do it again.
Selection heading level 3.
So the commands in this table are for selecting text or selecting items. I can press down arrow.
Select down item. J or downwards arrow. Select up item. K or upwards arrow.
There's some keyboard commands. I can hit H again.
Go to heading level 3.
Those are another category of commands.
Application heading level 3.
So you can just navigate through here, and when you're finished, when you find the command you want, you can press escape.
Escape. Main region.
And you always want to turn that virtual PC cursor off. Insert Z.
Use virtual PC cursor off.
All right. Because now we can use drive like we have been.
Meeting
All right.
controls.
So
Mute.
I'm going to turn it back over to you guys here.
Alt
Stop my screen share.
Okay, so we will open the chat back up and we will ask our final poll question. And that question is, how do you open a list of available Google Drive shortcut keys? Is it the question mark, control question mark, excuse me, control /, not control question mark. Let me try that again. The choices are question mark, control /, or /. How do you open a list of available Google Drive shortcut keys? Question mark, control /, or /. And as you're answering that question, I'm going to ask one myself for Liz. When exactly do you need to, let's say you want to go through that list of shortcut keys. PC cursor has to be off to bring that up or not?
No, just know that once you press that command, that's when, in order to read those commands, you have to turn the virtual PC cursor on. So you could turn it on before you did that, or you could turn it on after you did that.
Okay. And then when I'm done, make sure I turn it back off.
Right.
Perfect. Do you have any other questions?
Yes, we have someone who'd like to just clarify when to turn the PC cursor off. I think that's just something that we need to clarify for our audience.
Okay, sure. So when you're in Drive and you're navigating and you're doing things with files, you're opening them and things like that, you want to keep the virtual PC cursor off. When you're in the list of keyboard commands, because that information is displayed like a web page, you need to turn it on. And that command is insert Z to turn it on and off.
Great, thank you, Elizabeth. And someone commented, the Google Command A will open the context menu when the file is highlighted or selected, not opened.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. I'm going to do that right. Yeah, there are a lot of keyboard there's so many different keyboard commands, and I appreciate you guys sharing those because it's, we usually, in general, we as JAWS users or we as keyboard users just use the ones that we do the most often. So it's great to know all those other keyboard commands.
Yeah, and someone, sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say it's great to be able to search for those as well.
Absolutely. And someone also dropped in the chat, if you are signed into your Google account, you can create a new doc, for instance, by typing docs.new in the address bar. I didn't know that
Oh,
command
I didn't know that
either.
either.
So that's fascinating.
I
I'll
bet
have
you
to
can
try
do
that
that with a
out.
sheet too, huh? Maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to try that out.
Yeah.
So our polls, about 47% of you have checked in with our poll question. How do you open a list of available Google Drive shortcut keys? We're going to go ahead and close that poll. 89% of you said Control+//. And Elizabeth, is that the correct answer?
Yes,
Absolutely.
that is it.
Very good. Thanks
Yep.
everybody for checking in with us with that poll question. I'm going to close the chat for now and give it back to you.
All right, I'm just going to talk about this for just a second, and I know someone mentioned this earlier, so I think you've used Google, but Google's Backup and Sync. But the desktop app is called Google Backup and Sync, and it allows you to sync your files in Drive with your computer, and also back them up in different places and access them from the desktop app. You can access them online and offline. You can update files in native applications like Microsoft Word or Excel, and they'll be updated automatically. They'll automatically sync in Google Drive because you've updated them. So Google Sync, Backup and Sync provides continuous backup to folders and files in the cloud. So, you update a file on your computer and it should update it there. And you can, if you want to download it, you can just do a search for download Google Drive, and you'll get that information, be able to learn more about that. I like it because I can go to my desktop and go to Backup and Sync, and it's usually running, but if it doesn't update, I'll exit it, I'll Alt F4 out of it, and then go back into it. But it allows me to easily share files without needing to go to the web. Now, I do like Google Drive on the web, of course, but it is a little bit different. It's not the same as using the web app. So like I said, it could be a webinar in and of itself, but I just wanted to mention that if you want more information, you can search for that, or you can also email me. I'll be happy to help you out with that and give you some info about it. So the last thing we're going to cover is sharing folders and files. Now, we got a great question about this. You can share folders and files with others. You can, users can organize the folders, edit the folders and files, add to them, depending on what permissions you give them. So you can set permissions for users. If somebody is using it in view only mode, or view only, if they're not signed in, they can only access it. But if they're signed in and they have the right permissions, they can delete, edit, all of that kind of stuff. So the first thing you want to do, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen once again here. And
Started screen share.
all right, so
My Drive, Google Drive.
go back over here. So
Stop Nikki blank.
first thing we want to do is select a folder or file to share. And let's see, I'll press
G. N. Navigation region.
go back to the navigation.
Level 0. Compute. Shared with me.
I want
Computers.
to
My Drive.
share.
Closed. My Drive. Level 1. APH presentation. APH presentation.
Okay.
APH presentations. Google Drive folder. Closed.
So if I'm here on this folder, I'm going to go ahead.
Enter. Loading. Main
Oh,
region.
I might
Name.
have just messed up. Okay. I can press Applications key or Shift F10,
Applications. Context menu.
and I'm going to arrow down here to share.
Open. Share 3 of 15. Enter. Menu loading menu. Menu loading context menu as pop-up. Leaving menus. Loading dialog. Dialog. Sharing frame. Dialog. Share with people and groups. Add people and groups. FS trainers. Trainers2@gmail.com. James Sullivan. Sullivan at AP.
All right. So
Leaving
what
menus.
we have
Add people and groups. Edit combo.
is an edit field here where you can type in the name of someone you want to share with. So like if I want to type in my work email, because I know I've shared things with that before.
Meta-A-T-A-A-E-R at Elizabeth Whitaker, Whitaker at Vispero.com.
All right, so I can down arrow here. I can, well, I think it's already selected. I can press enter.
Enter. Grid. Add people and groups. Edit combo collapsed. Elizabeth Whitaker. Whitaker at Vispero.com.
Now, if there were multiple, if I could just like, you can type a name or an email address. So if I had just typed in my name, it would have probably come up with different, multiple email addresses. So I can tab here.
Dialog. Share with people and groups. Add sharing restrictions. Control who can share. Download. Copy and print this file. Elizabeth Whitaker. Whitaker at Vispero.com. Elizabeth Whitaker. APH Gmail and JAWS Web. Space. Menu. Menu for selecting.
Okay, so I pressed space, and this is a menu. You can select permissions. I can down arrow here.
Commenter 2 of 3. Viewer 1 of.
So if I wanted to share it with somebody, that could be a viewer,
Commenter 2 of 3.
commenter,
Editor checked.
or
3 of 3.
editor, and that's checked. So that's good. If I wanted just commenter,
Commenter
I
2.
could go up here and press enter.
Enter. Leaving menus. Commenter. Change.
So I've changed that to commenter, and I can tab.
Dialog. Share with people and groups. Add sharing restrictions. Control who can share. Message at. Notify people. Checkbox checked.
All right, so JAWS wasn't necessarily reading that it was reading a lot of other stuff, so I tabbed and pressed shift tab. So notify users, you want to definitely do that with an email, so you can check that.
Message edit. Grid. APH Gmail and JAWS webinar
So there's
present.
a message. I could add a message there.
Send feedback to Google button. Cancel button. Send button.
And there's a send. If I wanted to send that, I could press space and then it would send that email. So you can change those permissions. There are some settings in there, and if you guys have any questions about how to work with those settings, send me an email, because sometimes some of this stuff is a bit tricky when you're navigating through that. You can also share a link with somebody, so you have that option. You can choose copy link, and then you can share it. You can navigate through those options to choose, change, change and determine who can access that folder or link. So you can share a link, or you can just share the file. So yeah, I'm going to turn it back over to you guys. But once again, send me an email to training@vispero.com if you have any questions, or if you're trying to teach your students this or navigate through it yourself and you're running into some issues. Because some of these tasks can run a bit long, and I want to get to your questions. So.
All right, I'm going to open the chat back up for any questions as they come in. So Nikki, if you don't mind moving to the next slide, that has the training@vispero.com email address, and it's also got a training page for Freedom Scientific. And that you can send questions to that training@vispero.com email, and you can check out the training page that are both shared on this slide.
Absolutely. We do have a lot of training on Google Workspace and Gmail and things. So.
Great. So a few new questions have come into the chat. How does JAWS announce edits that have been made by others to a document?
When you're navigating through a document, usually, like, for example, let's say two people are in a Google Doc at the same time. JAWS will let you know, it'll say the person's name. It'll say, Paul is navigating near you. And if Paul makes a change, it will let you know that. It'll read that and let you know who made that edit as you're reading the document. Sorry.
And there's a follow-up question to that. How do you read a comment that shows in a document?
Ooh, how do you access comments? Let's see. I will get an answer to that. Let's take another question. I'll come back to that one. I will get you an answer to that, because I don't remember off the top of my head. I haven't done that in a long time.
No problem. So there's lots of designations that someone can have in Gmail when you give permissions to someone to view a document. What can a commenter do? Is a question that came in.
That's a good question. A commenter can leave comments, but not necessarily edit that document. And you can go into, there's a sharing settings button that you can go into that allows you to establish, different settings for sharing. But yeah, so an editor can So, if you set it to view, the person can just read the document. They can't make any changes. If it's comment, they can leave comments. If it's edit, they can do all of those things.
Great, thank you for answering that. Is there a way to turn off notifications, for example, that that are distracting from your navigation in the share tutorial?
Which ones are you referring to? Like what kind of notifications?
Good question. Let me see if, yes, the pop-up suggestions. Jennifer clarified the pop-up suggestions.
When you're navigating, you mean in Zoom or do you mean in Drive?
In the share tutorial. Am I getting your question right, Jennifer? They may not be visible to the JAWS user.
I'm
okay.
not sure I know what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
But they interfere with the navigation.
Oh, I think I know what you mean when you're navigating through the share dialog. And is that maybe what you're talking about when you navigate through the share dialog and JAWS reads a lot of extra stuff?
I believe that's yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know the answer to that, but if you email training@vispero.com, I will get an answer for you and we'll find out if you can do that or not. Because yeah, I agree with you. That can sometimes be confusing, especially.
Great. So a thanks from Jennifer. That's going to help her student a ton.
good.
So thank you
Sure.
for answering that. Do you have folks turn on and off Braille support when in Google Docs?
I recommend anytime you're in any of the Google Workspace applications, leave Braille support on, even if you're not using a Braille display. There are things that if you turn that off, that it won't read correctly. For example, say all, the insert down arrow command. If you're in Docs, for example, and you press insert down arrow and Braille support is off, it won't work.
Thank you for that. That's good information
Yeah.
to have. All right. That's the end of questions for right now. So Nikki, if you don't mind, we'll go through the rest of our ending slides. You can still drop some questions in the chat. If we don't get to those, please share those with Elizabeth via the training@vispero.com email that she has shared. So next slide, please, Nikki. Awesome. So some things that we've learned today, and we've learned a lot. So please follow up with questions or check out the recording of this webinar when it's released in the next week or so. So using the list view is going to make browsing a breeze. You can always toggle between the list and the grid view, but list is often the most accessible. The details pane will allow you to determine a file's creator, size, and date of last modification, which is really helpful when you're working on a shared document. And keyboard shortcuts for all Google workplaces are easy to access with that control plus the / command. So that's going to definitely help. And we love your suggestion of creating a compendium of Google shortcut keys. So thank you for that suggestion. That might be something for us to work on for the future. As you know, we do a JAWS webinar pretty much every month. So stay tuned. We'll have one in April, one in May, one in June. So always be checking our APH website for upcoming JAWS webinars with Elizabeth. She's one of our, or probably our most popular presenter. You guys are big fans of Elizabeth. To get those annual licenses from APH, they are available via quota. Zoom Text is $80 an annual student license, and JAWS is $90 annually. And Paul, I'm going to hand it back to you to wrap up.
Can I answer one question super quickly?
Oh,
Have a second.
absolutely.
Sorry about that. So and you can get a comment history, a list of comments with Control-Alt-Shift-A when you're in Docs. And then you can move to the next comment with Control-Alt-M and previous with Control-Alt-P. So just to let you know, you can go to Docs and do that same keyboard command, Control/ and get a whole list of keyboard commands there as well.
Great.
And
Thank
then
you,
that brought up
Elizabeth.
a question that I had too. So let's say I have a file that I want to, I think you said you could even send it to Office 365. Is there a way to do that?
You can download it to your computer, like for example, and you can download it. It'll download as a Word file, and then you can open it in Word or Excel or whatever the file may be.
But let's say you have a video or something, you can just download it to your hard drive and just move it wherever you want,
Yes.
and it will keep
Yes.
it in your Google Drive.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Perfect.